Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bright Connections. It is a holiday weekend. Happy Labor Day to you, your family, your friends. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. If you are listening to this after Labor Day, just wanted to jump on real quick and touch on a few things just to connect with you for a couple minutes at least. And wish you obviously the best. Hope everyone again enjoyed your weekend. Just wanted to go over a few things. Sports are in full kick right now, so I wanted to go over a few sports seasons and little predictions on a couple of leagues, where we stand with a couple of other leagues, and just talk with sports. So this one's going to be a sports episode, just like I said, just a short one here. Obviously, it is a holiday weekend, but I wanted to jump on and talk with you for a little while. So, all right. So first and foremost, we're going to start off with the lacrosse league that the premier lacrosse league that we've talked about in the past. If you saw our prior episode with Colin, we talked all about the premier lacrosse league and how it's absolutely just taking off in its third official season, and it's doing really well. It's like I said, taking off. It's growing. People are tuning in, new lacrosse fans, old lacrosse fans. And so we are officially at the final stage. We are at the championship stage of the Premier Lacrosse League, which will be in about 2 weeks, on September 19th. We have the championship. But before we get to that and any predictions we do, we want to get to how we got there. So we'll start off with the quarterfinals. So we did have the quarterfinal matchups. And we'll start off with that one. The first matchup was the Chaos versus the Archers. And a lot of people were high on the Archers. The Archers were a very dynamic team, very high scoring team. A lot of people predicted them to do well, including myself. And they got beat. They got beat by the Chaos. Chaos is one of those teams, but I don't think a lot of people really predicted to do that well at the beginning of the season. But they put things together, and they've put together a very dynamic offense as well of their own. And so the Chaos did defeat the Archers in the first quarterfinal matchup, and moved on to the semifinal. Next, we had the Atlas versus the Cannons. My team, the Cannons, who I've really come to start to root for and kind of take hold as my team. They did get defeated by the Atlas, though, in that quarterfinal matchup. So the Atlas, who definitely did not get picked by a lot of people at the beginning of the season, ended up being the number 2 seed in the tournament, had a very, very good year, a lot of good young stars, and they did end up defeating the Cannons and moved on to the semifinals as well. And in the last quarterfinal matchup, we had the Whip Snakes and the Redwoods. Talk about the rivalry. These two teams have been head-to-head, big-time games, big matchup games, playoffs, championships, regular season, everything. It's very heated. It's respected, but it's heated. And yet again, another fantastic matchup, a 14-13 game. The Whip Snakes did win. They moved on to the semifinals. But again, another fantastic matchup between those two teams. So in the semifinals, which actually just took place this last weekend, this weekend, Labor Day weekend, the semifinals were the Atlas and the Chaos, and the Chaos defeated the number 2 seed Atlas to move on. It was actually a pretty convincing win, 15-9. They really shut down the Atlas offense, only allowed 9 goals. Good performance by the Chaos, and they have officially punched their ticket to the championship. Next, we have the Water Dogs and the Whip Snakes. The Water Dogs, the number 1 seeds. They got the bye in the first stage in the quarterfinals. They got the bye, and so they were the number 1 seed. But they faced off against the Whip Snakes. The 2-time defending champions were too much. Were too much for the Water Dogs. Too much for the Water Dogs. The Whip Snakes do move on and play in their 3rd consecutive championship. They defeat the Water Dogs 14-10. Just too much pedigree, too much know-how, too much experience. with the strategy that the Whip Snakes coaching staff has, and just the players, the go-to players on the team, it's just too much. It's too much. So there we have it. We have our two teams for the championship once again on September 19th, which is not a Saturday. I believe that's a Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, September 19th is the championship of the Premier Lacrosse League, third season. Do the Whip Snakes three-peat? Do they win the championship every single year that the Premier Lacrosse League has been a league? We'll find out. We'll find out. Or does the Chaos have something to say about that? The Chaos have come on strong. They've really put things together. They've performed really well, knocked out some really good teams, the third seed and the second seed. But do the Whip Snakes again have the experience and the know-how to do it again? We'll find out. We'll find out. So September 19th, tune in. If you're not a lacrosse fan, check it out. I guarantee you'll at least be intrigued enough. It's awesome. It's absolutely a fantastic game. One of the best games. I love it with a passion. Obviously, I'm a coach, and it's amazing. So if you haven't watched lacrosse, you don't really know much about it, there's your opportunity. Nothing better than a championship game, right? Nothing better than a championship game. So check it out, and I hope you enjoy. Next, I want to talk about baseball, a little MLB action. MLB is winding down. We're in the last month before playoffs start, a month or so, and we're kind of starting to get a picture of who the teams to watch out for are. So we'll start in the American League with the AL East. Tampa Bay Rays, 86-51 are leading that division with a 7-game lead over the New York Yankees, who are in second. The Boston Red Sox are in third, 7.5 games behind. Then come Toronto and Baltimore. Baltimore is only 42 games behind. That's all. So they're pretty close. Toronto, 12 games behind, but they are in the mix for the wild card, one of the wild card spots. It'd be tough to see Tampa Bay losing that lead. Even though New York has come on strong lately, Tampa Bay, I think it's got enough of a lead not to blow it. But stranger things have happened in sports. So I do think Tampa Bay wins that division. We'll have to talk about the wild cards here in a second. So Tampa Bay, I think, wins that division. Moving to the AL Central, we have the Chicago White Sox in first with a 10-game lead over the Cleveland Monsters. Yeah, right? Because they're not the Indians anymore. And I'm blanking on what they changed the name to. Guardians. It will be the Guardians, but they're still the Indians for this year. So they are still the Indians for this year, but they will be the Guardians come next year. So they are in second. 10 games behind, as I mentioned. Detroit is in third, putting on a good show. Detroit's been one of the lower teams, but they are 65-73, so definitely, still a losing record. Kansas City in fourth and Minnesota in fifth at 59-77. So not the best division there. So the White Sox, you have to imagine, are going to run away with that division. Be tough to see anybody make a stand for that one as well, especially with their 136 run differential. So Cleveland, not quite close enough. They have a winning record, but not quite there. Chicago White Sox, I think, get that division. And then lastly, the AL West, you've got the Houston Astros. We know what a lot of people say about them. They are leading the division at 79-56 with a 5.5 game lead over Seattle Mariners at 74-62, with Oakland right behind them at 74-63, 6 games behind. Then you've got the Los Angeles Angels, even 500 at 68-68, and the Texas Rangers at 47-88, 32 games behind. So Houston, unfortunately, got to imagine is still going to hold on to that lead. Oakland, I think, would be the better team that would give them a push to try to take that spot. I don't think Seattle quite has it there. They don't have quite all the pieces there together. They've had a real good season, obviously, 74-62. But I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there, guys. So I unfortunately have to imagine, like I said, Houston winning that division and moving into the playoffs. So then that takes us to the wild card race. So currently it is the Yankees who hold that first wild card spot. And then Boston in the second wild card spot, with Seattle, the first team out of the wild card spot, 4 games behind, with Toronto 4.5, as well as Oakland. So I'd say after that, Cleveland 9.5 behind. Be tough to imagine them getting the wild card spot. And I think we determined that, they're not going to win the division either. So it's pretty much a 3-team mix to break into the wild card spot with Seattle, Toronto, and Oakland. But overall, you've got Yankees, Boston, Seattle, Toronto, and Oakland. I think 5-team race for 2 spots there. So I do think the Yankees hold on. I kind of want to hope that Toronto knocks out Boston for the second spot. I think they've got enough to make a push. It's just a matter of, can they put a run together? And does Boston slip a little bit? I'll predict that they do. I'll predict that Toronto gets it done and makes it into that second wild card spot, knocking out Boston. So we'll have the Yankees and Toronto beating the 2 wild card teams. All right, there you go. All right, moving on to the National League. We've got the NL East with Atlanta leading that division at 71-64, with Philadelphia right behind them at 70-66, 1.5 games. The Mets after that, 69-68. Atlanta has struggled of late. They're 3-7 in their last 10. I do think they'll fix it. I think Atlanta is the team to beat in that division. I think they hold on, win that division. Every other team in that division has a negative run differential, except for Atlanta. So I think Atlanta rights their issues and figures it out, wins that division. And then you got the Miami Marlins and the Washington Nationals rounding out that division. 15 games behind. So I don't think they're in the mix anymore. So like I said, I think Atlanta wins that division. Then we've got the NL Central. We've got the Milwaukee Brewers leading that division at 83-54, 10.5 game lead over Cincinnati at 73-65, with St. Louis there at 69-65, Chicago at 62-75, and Pittsburgh at 48-88. Surprisingly, Pittsburgh does not have the worst team in the league, the worst record in the league. Worst team probably, but not the worst record. At their negative 206 run differential with the Pirates. Now that actually is not the worst. Baltimore's worse at 234. So anyway, I think Milwaukee fairly easily runs away with that division. I don't think Cincinnati or St. Louis make any real close push to take that top spot with a 10.5 game lead at this point. I don't think. So Milwaukee wins that division. And then the NL West, we've got the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants schmack together to top of the division. The same record, 86-50. San Francisco, man, they put together a real good season. They have put together a real good season. This whole division's pretty tough, at least the top 3 teams. So then right behind them, you've got the San Diego Padres, 14.5 games behind, but they're right there in the wild card mix, and I do think they have a dangerous team. As far as who wins this division, I do unfortunately think the Dodgers still win the division. Just too many high name players, too much talent on the team, 217 run differential plus, obviously. I just think it's a little bit too much for San Francisco to hang with, but I do think San Francisco obviously gets in the wild card spot. So then looking at the wild card spot for the National League, you do have San Francisco obviously in that number one spot with a 14-game lead on the wild card spot. And then you do have San Diego in the second one, and Cincinnati in the mix as well. It's really confusing how they're doing this. So Dodgers are leading their division, but they're tied with San Francisco. That's why it's showing that way. Okay. So in the mix for the wild card, if you take out San Francisco and well, you can't take them out. So we'll say, since I said the Dodgers are going to win, we'll take San Francisco and San Diego are leading the wild card right now. San Francisco and San Diego. It's really confusing because we got like teams tied for it. So they're really messing me up there. But anyway, I think the two teams that make it into the wild card from the National League are going to be San Francisco and San Diego. I do think three teams from the NL West make it into the playoffs. I think Cincinnati comes up short. I think St. Louis comes up short. Philadelphia, New York. So there you have it. All right. So then that puts in the playoffs. We've got in the American League, Tampa Bay, New York. These are my predictions, obviously. Tampa Bay, New York, Toronto, Chicago White Sox, and Houston Astros. And then in the NL, you've got Atlanta, Milwaukee, LA Dodgers, San Francisco Giants, and San Diego Padres. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. It should be interesting. Couple races are close, couple are not so close. Who makes a good push? Who squeaks in to the wild card spot and then makes a push in the playoffs? I love sports, man, and those kind of stories where you barely squeak into the wild card spot and then you make a push to like the final or something. Love hearing those types of stories. So we'll see what becomes of the MLB playoffs. We'll see what becomes of the MLB playoffs and who makes it and who does well. Next, we've got the NHL. Hockey season is just about ready to be back. We've got preseason starting up officially on Saturday, September 25th. Saturday, September 25th, we officially start the NHL preseason. And then, so obviously we do have a little bit of division change with the new team, Seattle being in there, but lots of interesting moves over the postseason and a lot of exciting things to come for NHL. Oh, also big news from hockey is that the NHL players will have the Olympic break and will allow the players from the NHL to play in the Olympics. In the last Olympics, the NHL players did not play, and I think the Olympics kind of took a hit for that. I think the Olympics took a hit, not as didn't do as well, didn't get as a lot of exposure, as a lot of hype around hockey in the Olympics without the NHL players. I mean, the NHL has the best players. They have the best players in the world, and to take them out of the Olympics, it obviously it hurt. It hurt the Olympics. So officially, we've got NHL players in the Olympics this year or next year. So they will allow the break in the season, in the NHL season, to allow for them to go to the Olympics. So with the preseason starting on the 25th of September, we'll go through a real quick prediction on what I think within each division. So Arizona moves to the Central Division. Seattle slots into the Pacific Division, and then no change on the East side, East Conference. In the Central Division, I think the team to beat is once again Colorado. I think Colorado wins the Central Division. I think I think Winnipeg gets the number 2 spot. I think St. Louis gets 3, Chicago 4, Minnesota 5, Nashville 6, Dallas 7, and Arizona 8. That's my prediction for that division. I think Colorado they added a real good goaltender to their already really good team. I think that takes them over the top. They easily win that division and once again are the team to beat, probably in the whole Western Conference. So in the other division in the West, we've got the Pacific Division. I think you got to still go with Vegas. I think you still got to go with Vegas to win that division. After that, I think you go with. I'm going to go Vancouver 2nd, Edmonton 3rd, Anaheim 4th, Los Angeles Kings in 5th, Seattle 6th, Calgary 7th, I don't think I did that right. I think I said too many teams. All right, we'll do that again. Vegas 1st, Vancouver 2nd, Edmonton 3rd, Anaheim 4th, Calgary 5th, Kings 6th, Seattle 7th, and San Jose 8th. There we go. I think Anaheim's putting things together. I think they make a push to step up a little bit. I think Calgary is going to kind of drop down a little bit. Edmonton will still be there with McDavid and Draisaitl. And I'm big on Vancouver. I think Vancouver, with their young stars, as long as Pettersson can stay healthy, I think they put together a real good year and get that number 2 spot even. So early predictions. Then you've got in the Eastern Conference, you've got the Atlantic Division, which I think honestly is probably the worst division in the league, because you've got Tampa Bay at the top, and then after that, it's just like, You do have Boston, you do have Florida, who did real well last year. I think Boston's still kind of on the way out. I think their guys are getting old. They lost Krejci over the offseason. I think they're losing their main pieces, and I think they're on their way down. I'm not sold on Toronto still. I still think they're going to struggle. So I will put Tampa Bay in first in that division. I'm going to say Florida in second. I'll say Toronto third in the regular season. I'll say Toronto third, Boston fourth, Montreal fifth, Ottawa sixth, Detroit seventh, and Buffalo eighth. Buffalo is going to be just awful, just absolutely awful. It's tough. I hate to say it because I am a fan of the Sabres, but the way that the organization is running things right now, it's just not good. It's just not good. The team's going down fast. So hopefully something can change to fix their situation, but that's my prediction for the Atlantic. Not going to be close. I think Tampa Bay runs away with that division, although Florida might be close, but other than them two, I don't know. It's going to be tough to see any other team. That you never know. The team might surprise you. And then last but not least, in the Metropolitan, which is arguably, once again, the toughest division in the NHL. I honestly, it's gonna be tough to know where to even start with this division. Washington and Pittsburgh are always there. Philly's usually there. Rangers are on the rise. New Jersey is really on the rise. I'm high on New Jersey this year. I'm high on New Jersey this year. I'm high on Carolina this year. The only team I think I know is Columbus is going to be last. I think Columbus is last. The Islanders are always there. I honestly, this is tough. This one is really tough for me to predict. I'm going to say Carolina wins this division. I'm going to say Carolina wins this division with Pittsburgh second, New Jersey third, Washington fourth, Islanders fifth, Rangers sixth, Philly seventh, and Columbus eighth. Carolina, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, Washington, Islanders, Rangers, Philly, Columbus. I think that's all eight. That's tough though. I mean, I think it's going to be really, really close through all teams. Again, except for maybe Columbus. I don't think Columbus is going to have a good year. But like I said, I'm high on New Jersey. I think Carolina, they added some good pieces this year. Hopefully their goaltending works out. They always kind of have goaltending issues. I think Carolina gets first. I think Pittsburgh's still there. I think they get second. They do have another good regular season. We'll see what they do in the postseason. Washington will be there in the regular season still, as long as they have Ovechkin and those guys. I think Philly drops a little bit. I don't think Philly has a great season. They're rebuilding. I think the Rangers are on the rise. I think the Islanders are kind of stale right now. I don't think they have a great season, but in the mix. But New Jersey, I think, has a good season and move all the way up to third. I do. So, yeah, we'll see. But like I said, postseason is starting. Preseason is starting sooner rather than later for NHL, and I can't wait. I cannot wait for hockey to be back. And then last but not least, we obviously have football. Football is right around the corner. We've got this coming Thursday will be the start of the regular season with the first game. And then obviously on the weekend will be the next ones. So just looking real quick, I guess the only thing we could do is kind of go through how the preseason went and prediction from the preseason and in each division. So apparently the AFC, the American Football Conference, is the division to beat because they absolutely destroyed in the preseason. There were 3 teams in the AFC with losing records in the postseason, and there were 2 teams with winning records in the NFC. Complete domination in preseason as far as the 2 conferences. There was 2 teams with winning records in the NFC and only 3 with losing in the AFC. That's crazy. I know it's preseason. I know it doesn't mean that much, but still, thing to look for. Wow. So going through each division, AFC East, we've got Buffalo, who were 3-0 in the preseason. New England was 3-0. Jets were 2-0. Dolphins were 2-1. Well, Jets were 2-0-1, I should say. Sorry, 2-0-1. They did have a tie, tied with the Eagles. In this division, I think Buffalo's team to beat. I think Buffalo wins the division with Miami in second, New England third, and the Jets in fourth. I think that's my prediction for that division. I think Buffalo wins the division pretty easily again. I think Miami's close. New England will be around always, but I think Buffalo wins that division. AFC North, once again, one of, if not the toughest division in football. Cleveland 3-0 in the preseason. Baltimore 3-0 in the preseason. Pittsburgh 3-1 in the preseason. Bengals 1-2. I think Baltimore, as much as it hurts me to say it, I think Baltimore wins the division. I think Pittsburgh gets second. Cleveland third, Cincinnati fourth. Baltimore's defense looks tough. They're once again pretty tough on defense. If they can put their offense, putting up points with Jackson, be a good team. Pittsburgh, a lot of people aren't sold on Pittsburgh. They think Ben's too old, offensive line's bad. I'm still sticking with the Pittsburgh's gonna be good. I think their defense is dominant. I think their defense is fantastic. I think the offense has enough tools with wide receiver position, new running back. I'm big on Najee Harris. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. I'm hoping so too, because I have him on my fantasy team. And I think they are still a better team than Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland has that much. I'm not sold on their defense, and I don't think their offense is that great either. So I think Pittsburgh is a better team than Cleveland still. So that's my prediction for the AFC North. AFC South, Indianapolis, we were 3-0. Tennessee was 2-1. Houston was 2-1. Jacksonville was 1-2. This one's a tough one to predict. I think Tennessee will win the division. I think Indianapolis will get second, Jacksonville third, and Houston fourth. I think Tennessee wins the division. Tennessee's got a good team. Indianapolis is right there. Jacksonville behind Mr. Trevor Lawrence, all the hype around him, I think gets third, and then Houston fourth. Houston's probably gonna struggle. Last but not least, we got the AFC West. Kansas City 3-0, Denver 3-0, Las Vegas Raiders, still weird to say, 2-1, and Los Angeles Clippers 1-2 in the preseason. Kansas City still a team to beat. Why wouldn't they be? Kansas City, the team to beat in this division, maybe even the conference. I think they win. With the way Denver played in the preseason, I'll give them second place in the division. I'll say this one finishes how the preseason went. I'll say Kansas City wins, Denver second, Raiders third, and Chargers fourth. I'll stick with the preseason standings there. Moving on to the National Football Conference, the NFC. In the NFC East, we've got Washington at 1-2, Eagles at 0-2-1, Giants at 0-3, and Dallas at 0-4. What a division. Easily the worst division in the league. Who do you pick here to win the division? Your guess is as good as mine. It's not going to be Dallas. Honestly, it could be a Washington football team. I could see Washington winning this division with the Giants second, the Eagles third, and the Cowboys fourth. We'll go with that. And the North, the NFC North, we've got Chicago at 2-1, Minnesota 0-3, Lions at 0-3, and Packers at 0-3. Oof. Tough preseason. I do think Green Bay plays better than that there in the preseason. I think it's going to be between Green Bay and Chicago. I will give the nod to Chicago to win the division, with Green Bay in second, Minnesota in third, and Detroit in fourth. In the NFC South, we've got the New Orleans Saints at 1-1, got the Panthers at 1-2, Tampa Bay at 1-2, and Atlanta at 0-3. I think Tampa Bay wins the division. I think Carolina gets second, New Orleans third, and Atlanta fourth. Yeah. New Orleans is a little questionable with the transition from Breeze. Carolina, I don't know much about Carolina, but I do think Tampa Bay has enough, and Atlanta's going to struggle, as they probably did last year. Their defense is questionable. Matty Ice, Matt Ryan still can. I still am a believer in Matt Ryan. I think he's still good enough. I don't think he's amazing anymore or anything like that, but I think he's got enough. I think he puts some nice passes to his talented receivers. I don't know about the running. I don't know about their defense. So, but anyway, I think Tampa Bay wins, Carolina second, New Orleans third, and Atlanta fourth. And then the NFC West, we've got San Francisco at 2-1, Arizona 1-1, Seattle at 1-2, and the Rams at 0-3. This is going to be pretty close division too. It's going to be a pretty close division too. This is probably the best division in the NFC. I'll predict Arizona to win the division, with San Francisco second, Seattle third, and Los Angeles fourth. Boom, you got it. Too early predictions, way too early predictions. I don't know what to expect. It's tough, but going off what teams made in the moves they made in the off season and how their preseason went, that's my very early prediction before the season starts. We'll see what happens to that. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think about my predictions, what your predictions are. Am I dead wrong? Am I pretty close? Am I spot on? What do you think? What are your predictions? Let me hear them. All right, so that's our sports updates. That's what I've got for you. Thanks for joining me. I do have a bright story of my own to share. So this past weekend, we had an absolutely amazing day on the live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/AdmiralBK. I had a complete outpour of support from followers, just subscribing to the channel, donating, just completely hyped up in the chat, and just showing all kinds of support and all kinds of love. And it was absolutely amazing. A night to remember for sure. It was amazing on so many levels, and has completely re-energized me to just put so much effort into this, into what I'm doing. And I truly believe in what I'm doing. I do. And I believe that I can brighten the world through Bright Connections, through the stream on Twitch. I think just with connecting with people, finding common ground, just being goofy, being loving, being caring. I believe in myself and my mission and my goal to brighten the world. And I'm going to keep striving each and every day to do what I can. And I'm going to keep challenging you guys to do the same. I'm going to keep challenging you to every single day wake up in the morning with the mindset of, what can I do today to make somebody else's day better? Simple as it gets. And I say it over and over every day to myself. I say it every episode here. I say it on the stream on Twitch. It takes very little effort to do a simple act for somebody, and to be proud of what you did for them, or to recognize what somebody else did for you as well. It's not always about you doing it. It can be about you recognizing somebody else do it as well. So take it into consideration, be bright. That's my challenge to you. I hope you guys will accept and continue to be your best person, and to put your best foot forward and be the best person you can be. So once again, guys, if you could do me a solid, if you like the video, if you like the channel, hit the subscribe button. It's basically just showing your support by following the channel. If you could share the podcast, if you could rate the podcast on whatever platform you listen to on, if you could follow social media and continue to spread the word about Bright Connections, I would appreciate it more than you know. So Thanks, guys, again for joining me. Hope you enjoyed my little sports chat with you. And let me know again, always let me know what you guys think about everything as well. Let me know your thoughts on all the different seasons, all the different sports, and what you think. And I'd like to hear and I'd like to discuss with you. So enjoy, guys. Have a wonderful and bright week. I once again hope you enjoyed your Labor Day weekend. Have a wonderful week. Be bright. And we'll see you next time, guys. Take care.